Hello, everybody. I hope there's a few people who've decided to join me tonight. We're going to be talking about hacking happiness. And if you might have seen in the description, there are 4 points that we're going to be covering over the evening, well, over the hour really. So, the first point, if you look, is happiness is possible right now for you, me, and for everybody. Happiness is natural. Unfortunately, we've all been trained out of it. Happiness isn't trivial, and it improves all areas of life. And the last point tonight, happiness is more about unlearning rather than learning. So hopefully we'll be able to get in some interesting information and you will learn something. And yes, before we start, my name is Ed Love. I'm a life coach and I've always been passionate about happiness, mainly because in the past I wasn't very happy. My parents say I was quite a shy, timid guy, quite nervous when I was young. And after a while, I realised that that was the case and it wasn't a lot of fun. And I thought, okay, what can I do about this? Is there anything I can do about this? So I started researching. I started looking around. I started reading books. I did a few courses now and then. And gradually, it started getting through this head of mine. And I started becoming happier. Not all the time, of course. Nobody's going to be happy all the time, but gradually my life started improving. I started getting happier. Even though I didn't have amazing things in the outside world, people might not look at my life and say, oh, he's a big success. But the way I see it, if I'm happy, does success really matter? Or maybe another way of looking at it is that happiness is success. I think most of us do the things that we do in order to feel better. And if happiness is, roughly speaking, feeling pretty good much of the time, hopefully most of the time, then what could be more important than being happy? Yeah. Certainly we all like to contribute and make a difference in the world, and we can do that, and we can be happy. It's not an either or, it's kind of a both and, which is more the kind of thing we're moving towards in the future. In the past, much of life has been either or, work or family, relationship or freedom. But these days, we're starting to notice that we can actually have all of the above. We don't have to compromise. We don't have to give up one thing in order to have another thing. So, just a little bit about my background. But it's not about me. It's about you and how you can learn to be happier in your life. So, let's see. We have a few people who have joined us now. That's great. I might wait a couple more minutes before I dive into the information. Let's see, 2 or 3 minutes perhaps. So if you have any questions, please do post them, because hopefully there will be some time later and we can explore questions. And yeah, I love this topic because usually I find that I'm learning something as well. People post all sorts of interesting questions when I do these kind of things. And it's great when you can share something that works, when you can learn something at the same time and have a good time at the same time. Yeah, sounds like a win-win to me. I try to live my life in a way of win-win, where I win and people that I interact with win, and in a way that helps me be happier as well, and people generally appreciate that. And it's kind of like the golden rule. If we treat people well, in general, not always, but in general, people treat us well. So that's my experience anyway. Okay, so let's see. Any questions at the moment? Happiness is success. Julian likes that. Good. Ishka, nice to see you. That's great. And sorry, Julian Pace. My apologies. I misread that. Oh, I think my pair of glasses needs another pair of glasses. But what can you do? Okay, well, it's getting on a little bit. So I think we'll start. So yes, it's really good to be here. I'm grateful to have this chance to be part of this Happiness Aid event, because we're all stuck inside much of the time these days with quarantine to one degree or another. And I'm so grateful for the internet. Just imagine what this would have been like maybe 20, 30 years ago, when people had maybe telephones and you had to count all the minutes that you called, all the minutes you dialed, because they were expensive minutes. That probably wouldn't have been a whole lot of fun. On the other hand, we might have had a few books around the house. I think books were quite popular in the old days, but yeah, these days we can get to use and enjoy all of the above. So that's great. Okay, so let's see. The first point, Happiness is possible right now for you, me, and all of us. Might feel a bit of a weird thing to consider if you're feeling miserable or if bits of your life aren't working, but in my experience, it's actually true. What is in our lives, in the world, is, and we can either fight it or we can accept it, and we can choose to get upset and angry about it and judge the heck out of it, or we can just say, okay, this is how it is. Maybe I don't like it. Maybe I like bits of it, but not other bits of it. But why do I have to be unhappy? Maybe I can be happy right now and still work on improving my life. Most of us, we've been trained to look at happiness as something in the future. Okay, let's see, maybe if I get the new car or the new boyfriend or the new girlfriend or lose 10 pounds or something, maybe I can be happy in the future. The trouble with that is that often we struggle and we're unhappy along the way, on the way to our goals. Sometimes we don't ever achieve our goals, which means we've got a pretty miserable journey. So that's not a lot of fun, is it? And sometimes we do meet our goals, which is great, but how often do they make us feel good? Yeah, I've got it, excellent, new car. Pretty soon it's the old car, and then do we want to go back on the hamster wheel again? Tread. Yeah, I spent much of my life doing the whole set goals and strive and stress and struggle and be active and move towards them and really, really focus and concentrate. And yeah, it wasn't a lot of fun. Certainly I still like to go for goals, but if I can be happy right now, here I am with my life as it is, I get kind of the best of all worlds. I'm happy, I enjoy the journey, and if I make my goals, great, and if I don't, well, at least I've been happy in the meantime instead of, oh no, I'm such a failure, oh God. So, yes, it is possible right now, right here, but we must have the intention. Without the intention to be happy, there's no motivation, there's no action. So, got to decide, yes, we want to be happy, it's important. And then we look at our beliefs. Because if we have a belief that we can't be happy, then we're going to get in trouble. We're not going to put any effort in, we're not going to really make much progress, and it's not going to be a lot of fun. So a lot of these beliefs that we have, we might not be aware of them. A lot of people aren't aware that they believe that they can't be happy. And if you're not aware of that, then you're living unconsciously through that and probably not going to be very happy. So if we let's say we play with a belief like that, I can be happy. Can I? Do I know that? Well, we could say, geez, I don't know. In the past, I haven't really managed it, so I suppose maybe. But the interesting thing about beliefs is when we choose a belief and fervently believe it, decide to believe it, it tends to attract evidence to support it. So here's a simple example. If we think that people are generally good and nice and decent, then in general we're probably going to be quite trusting, not foolishly, but quite trusting, and we're going to be probably quite friendly and quite helpful. And the world's going to reflect that back to us because people appreciate that. Whereas if we decide that people are unfriendly and mean and nasty and evil and wicked and they're always out to get me, what kind of life experience is that going to give you? You're going to be suspicious and grumpy and probably quite mean and nasty yourself. And if that happens, what kind of reaction do you think you're going to get from other people? I mean, how do you feel when you meet somebody? How do you feel when you meet somebody who's happy and friendly compared to somebody who is suspicious and mean and nasty and selfish? How do you feel? So sometimes when I play that, if I turn it around, how do I feel? That helps me make sense of things. Not always, but often. So, yeah, it's important to look at our beliefs. Can you be happy? Do you deserve to be happy? That's another question. And that's where we have fun and games from religion coming in. I consider myself a spiritual person, which means for me, I'm interested in connection, in love, in inclusion, creating a world that works for all of us. I don't want to tell anybody else how to live their life, but I want to find a way of live and let live. Whereas a lot of religions, they start with great ideas, with a wonderful master like Jesus, for instance. His teachings of the golden rule, do unto others, etc. his teachings to be compassionate and loving to all, even to the prostitutes and the tax collectors. He treated everybody the same. You can't really argue with any of that. That's really good stuff. So many of the founders of these religions had wonderful ideas and wonderful teachings. Unfortunately, over the years, often the religions grew around them after they died, and they often became about control and power and, yeah, you've got to give us your money, give us some money every week, and if you don't behave, then you'll go to hell, but you can buy your way out of hell if you give us some money. And you are a sinner, you're bad, you're a sinner, you're going to hell unless you give us some money or you do the right things or say the right incantations. And that helps us kind of believe that we're not good and that we don't deserve happiness and we don't deserve good things. So, yeah, if we've had a religious background, it's good to have a look at those beliefs that we've learnt, see which serve us and which don't, and if they don't help us be happy, then maybe we let them go. Am I really a sinner? Am I really going to hell? I made a few mistakes, but does that really mean that I deserve hell? Do I deserve eternal damnation and pain and suffering? I don't think so. In my experience, most people are good. Some people seem not to be good, but usually they're in pain and they're suffering for some reason or another. Sometimes they've been treated very, very badly. Sometimes they've had horrible experiences and they don't quite know how to deal with them. So I can understand why sometimes people do things that look pretty nasty. And if I kind of have this belief that people are inherently good, that means I don't have to judge them all the time. Because if I'm judging people or situations, then I get righteous indignation, and I insist upon being right, and they're doing the wrong thing, and you're bad. And I feel hard, and I feel tight, and I don't feel good, and I don't feel happy. So it doesn't serve me. It doesn't do them any good. I mean, are they going to listen to me if I'm judging them? How do you feel if somebody's judging you? Probably not very good. Many of us want to change the world, improve the world, and if we do, fair enough, but judging doesn't seem to work very well. At least not in my experience. When people judge me, I don't just talk to the hand. I'm not interested. But if people say something like, hey, have you considered that maybe what you're doing here might be a bit of a problem? Have you considered maybe something else? If somebody comes to me in gentleness and offers me a possibility of something that I might not even have thought of before, thank you, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Sometimes I'll see something new, in which case I'm very grateful. If they say something I don't believe in, I might say, well, thank you. Don't quite see how that applies now, but thank you anyway, I appreciate it. And with that kind of attitude, I find that in general, my friendships go better, my relationships go better. People are more willing to be themselves, they're more willing to share honestly without having any kind of no-go areas that we can't discuss because we get judgmental or angry, and not very helpful. And another thing on a similar line is we think we must be unhappy if we have problems. So we have a problem, I don't have enough money, or my car needs a service in a few weeks and I don't have the money. And we get caught up in this. But the funny thing is, if we don't think about our problems, we're not unhappy. Like, there's an amazing video, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's this incredible video on the internet where they get some people to do an experiment, and they say, here's a basketball court. I'll try that again. Here's a basketball court. And watch the basketball court and count how many players are in a blue shirt. So everybody says, okay, fair enough. And they watch the court, and there's a game for a few minutes, and then they finish the game. And at the end, they say, okay, how many people saw the gorilla? And they go, what? What are you talking about? And it turns out that during this game, this experiment, they had a guy walking through the basketball court in a gorilla suit, but nobody saw him because they were focusing on how many blue shirts. How many blue shirts? So our focus is crucial. If we focus on the good things in our life, the possibilities, the great friends we have, the lovely places we live, anything really that is positive, that's what we tend to see in the world. And if we focus on our problems, we can get upset, and then we can dig ourselves a hole, and then we can keep digging, and that's not a lot of fun. So yes, happiness is possible right now for all of us, but it requires a strong intention and a willingness to look at our beliefs, our thoughts, our habits, and see if they serve us. Not so we can judge ourselves and say, oh no, I'm dreadful, but just, not sure if that's useful. Maybe I'll give that up. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Does anybody have any questions? I'll have a wee look at the comments. Let's have a looky. No questions at the moment. If anybody has a question at any stage, please do type it in. I'll have a look at the comments at the end of each point. Otherwise, I'll be kind of constantly fractured, and that probably won't be very, very useful. But if you've got questions, please do ask. Yeah. So if anybody else has joined us, my name is Ed Love. Welcome. I'm a happiness coach, and today I'm talking about hacking happiness. And before I go to the next point, I'd just like to say, part of the fun doing this is because I want to improve my happiness. I've still got things that stuff me up and upset me, and they don't have to. So there's an expression, you teach what you most want to learn, which is one of the reasons I like doing this. So yes, okay, on to point number 2. Happiness is natural, but we've all been trained out of it. Some of these points today, they're going to fall back on each other. There's going to be a bit of repetition. There's going to be a bit of circling around. But that's not surprising. And repetition is usually a good thing. For instance, when we learned how to be unhappy, we've been repeatedly taught how to be unhappy again and again and again. They did a study once of children at school and how many times they got positive feedback and how many times they got negative feedback during a day. And it was something ridiculous, like kids got negative comments maybe 20 times as often as positive comments. And they were all things like, oh, that's dreadful. Oh, you're hopeless. Oh, you're no good. You'll never achieve anything. You won't be successful. Oh, you don't deserve this. Oh, you're so bad. And if many of us grow up with those comments, how's it going to make us feel? It's going to train us out of natural joy and happiness. Think about kids. Think about babies. Usually, as long as they're fed and clean and had enough sleep, then they're usually pretty happy. They're joyful, they're playful, they have fun, and often that gives their parents an excuse to kind of play like a baby and reconnect with that playfulness, that silliness, that fun that we all had access to as a kid. But gradually, as we grow up, we start learning these messages of unhappiness and you're bad and you can't do anything right and do as you're told and because I said so. Like all these ridiculous things that parents often give us, often with good intentions because they don't know any better. That's how they were brought up. But it kind of crunches down on us and we don't feel so happy anymore. And we pick up all these negative beliefs, negative ideas, negative thoughts. And over the years, that's who we become. We've been trained out of it. But we can undo that. We can undo that by changing our focus, deciding that, yes, I'm going to become happier. I'm going to focus on it every single day. Don't have to do it for hours, but just to be aware of your mood. How am I doing at the moment? Am I feeling good? If not, what's upsetting me? And becoming more aware of how we live, I guess. Yeah. Here's a little test. Think of something that you love or somebody that you love, something that just fills you up with delight. Feels pretty good? Can you access that? Hopefully everybody can access that. I can think of lots of things that I really love and appreciate. And when I do, it's great. I'm happy. I'm grateful. I'm happy. There's joy. There's bliss. I feel loving towards the people or the activities. And when I do that, my problems don't really exist. I mean, the situation might be there, which might need a bit of action at some stage, but I'm happy in the moment. So if I can remember not to think about my problems all the time, then I can be happy, I can be joyful, and I can train myself out of unhappiness. Yeah. Try it, see how you go. And again, motivation by unhappiness. Set goals, certainly. If you want to set goals, that's great, but don't make yourself unhappy until you achieve your goals, because you might not ever achieve them. But even if you do, why not have a joyful process along the way instead of a miserable one? Sometimes people talk about, oh, it's not the goal, it's not the destination, it's the journey. And there's something to that. Although another way of looking at it is the destination is the journey. Like in our life, we achieve certain things and other goals we don't achieve, and we go through our life doing this. And at the end, if we look around, are we going to really, really be concerned about, oh, I earned $50,000 or $100,000 or something, or I had a house worth $2 million. Or maybe we're just going to be focused on how much love was there in my life? How happy was I? How many people did I have in my life where we loved each other? It doesn't have to be a partner, although partners and family are wonderful, but friends as well, pets, whatever. Yeah. Don't always put happiness off until tomorrow. It's like the old thing. No jam today, jam tomorrow. Only jam tomorrow. Be happy tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. Another issue to look at is advertising. I don't watch TV advertising. I don't watch TV simply because they interrupt me every few minutes with advertising. And advertising is basically selling you stuff, of course, but it's selling you stuff by saying, if you had this, you'd be happier. And that tends to make us more unhappy, and we get envious of things. And we think, oh, if only I had the latest iPhone or the latest car or the latest anything, really. I need to upgrade every 2 years, 3 years at the most. And that often leaves us feeling miserable. I mean, people talk about retail therapy, they joke about it, but does it really work? You buy stuff and you're happy for a short while, and then you chuck it in the closet, and much of it never really sees any use. And what's the point? You get into debt, then you end up having to work longer and harder because, well, you bought a lot of stuff that doesn't really actually make you particularly happy. So yeah, I don't watch advertising. I refuse to. I don't listen to commercial radio. I don't watch film ads at the cinema. I don't watch television. And you might think, oh no, there's no entertainment then. Yes, there is. I've got tons of DVDs of wonderful things. Comedies, feel-good films, nature documentaries, all sorts of things that I'm interested in, but I don't have to sit through the adverts and get brainwashed. None of us do. Yeah. Advertising. Just say no. Another issue that can be a challenge is love. To me, love, joy, happiness, bliss, they're all kind of the same thing from a slightly different angle. So if I'm joyful, I feel happy, and if somebody shows up in front of me, I'm usually quite loving to them, unless I've got some reason not to be loving. But usually that's not a very good reason not to love them, because when I love somebody, I feel good, and if I don't love them, I don't feel good. So it's not really to do with them, it's to do with me. Do I want to feel happy? Now, I don't have to welcome everybody into my life. If there's somebody who I don't get on with, I don't have to say, come round and have dinner. But if I dislike them and judge them, and that doesn't make me feel good. So yeah, I try not to have pet hates, people I hate, or even politicians or anything like that. It doesn't serve. Yeah. And romance addiction, that's a big one in the West. So many of us would like to have our one true love, our soulmate, forever soulmate, Romeo and Juliet. Well, maybe not. They both ended up dead. But yeah, we have this illusion that if we find the right person, they will make us happy. Trouble is, that's a heck of a lot of responsibility to give to another person. And also, until they show up, we've got to be miserable because only they are the ones who can make us happy. So that's not pretty useful, is it? That's just going to give us a lot of reasons to be unhappy much of the time. Oh no, where is he? Where is she? Where is my special one? It's a challenge. And we're all brainwashed with this. Films, popular music, St. Valentine's Day. I remember when I grew up, if I've ever grown up. Anyway, when I was a child, I was quite unhappy and miserable. And yeah, I got caught up in pop music. And all the songs of pop music about, oh, you complete me, oh, you're the one, oh, you're not here, I'm so sad, I'm so unhappy. And I learnt all that because I thought that was the truth. Hey, it's on TV. Surely it's true. Yeah, pretty naive. Gradually I started realising, is this really true? Let me give an example. There was a woman who quite fancied me. And normally you'd think, oh, hey, great. Oh, this is pretty good, isn't it? Somebody's going to give me love. But the trouble is I didn't really like her. So here was somebody willing to offer me love, which according to the romance addiction, illusion, that'll make me happy. But I didn't like her, so any amount of love that she would give me wouldn't make any difference. So is romance addiction any use? And then very wise people over the years pointed out to me, maybe it's actually you loving that makes all the difference. And I thought, oh, that's a bit weird, but I still want my special person. And they said, oh, try this, play with it. And gradually I realised, when I love, I do feel happy. And I don't actually need them to love me back. Now, certainly it's nice if I can find a partner who loves me back and then we both love each other. And it's this beautiful virtuous circle, the opposite of a vicious circle. And we love each other and we grow together. And that can be delightful. But if I've got the choice of loving or being loved, I'd rather love, because that's totally in my control. I can choose whether to love or not. Some people might be easier to love than others. That's fair enough. Sometimes I'm easy to love, sometimes I'm not. Who knows? People connect with other people for all sorts of interesting reasons. But if I decide to focus on me loving, me giving love, then it's far more under my control and I can be happier more often. Take pets, for instance. Now, some pets are very loving and they can give you love back, and that's wonderful. But some pets aren't particularly loving. Like if you have a pet reptile, for instance, reptiles, some of them do look after their young and their eggs, but in general, they're not as loving as mammals. So if you say have a pet iguana or a snake, it's probably not going to give you a lot of love. But you can love this creature. I mean, some people have phobias about snakes, but many people have reptiles as pets and they love them and they adore them. And they're happy because they are loving, even though they're getting no love back from the reptile, because reptiles don't know love. They haven't evolved to the stage of mammals where they can love, as far as science currently knows. So again, that proves that if we focus on loving, on giving loving, on being loving rather than receiving loving, we can become happier, which is great. And the more we focus on that, the more we'll draw that back into our lives. The world is a mirror in many ways. What we look for, we find. So if we look for how can I love more, how can I find more things to love, more situations, more people, nature perhaps, gradually we'll start undoing the training of unhappiness and we'll get happier. Yeah. So that's the way I see it, and hopefully there are a few ideas there that might be useful to you too. So let's have a look. Do we have any more questions? Unconditional love first. Absolutely. Unconditional love. Some people say you can't love others until you love yourself. That sounds pretty good. And some people say you can't love yourself until you love others. And some spiritual people say that if you love, at some stage you realize that we are all connected, we are all one, and so there's actually no difference between me and others. So ultimately, in my experience, if I love, it doesn't really matter who shows up as the object of my love, whether it's me or somebody else. For me anyway, love is love. Yeah, there was a meme about that, wasn't there, about different sexual preferences and things like that. It doesn't matter where you find love as long as you do. And if you can find love for yourself and treat yourself really, really well, that's again wonderful because you are not dependent on anybody else. Yeah. Thanks, Sharon. That's great. Thank you for that reminder. Natasha, welcome. Disney, yes. Not sure I'm a big fan of Disney, but Shannon, some lovely comments there. That's great. This window isn't very big, but I'll just sneak around here. Lean into love. Yeah, absolutely. I changed my surname to Love because love is the thing I value above all things. And at the time, I knew that I wasn't very good at it. And these days, I think I'm a little better. I'm gradually improving. So whenever I sign my name or say my name, I remind myself what's important, what's most important to me. It doesn't have to be important to anybody else, but if I make it important for me and I focus on that, then there's more love in my life. I like that, and I'm naturally happier. Okay. Loving. How you want to be loved in return. Oh yes, that's the addiction, isn't it? What else do we have? Julian, life is what you give. Give love. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. And you won't always get love back, but if you're genuinely loving without expecting love back, it doesn't matter. And if you do get it back, that's a bonus. It's great, it's wonderful, but you don't need it. You don't need it. So if I meet somebody and I quite fancy them and I want to explore a relationship, I'll say to them, hey, I'm already happy. You don't have to make me happy. Doesn't that let you off the hook a little bit? I like that. When happy people come together, usually they have fun. They might not end up being forever soulmates, and that's okay. I've connected with some wonderful women over the years, and sometimes we've explored a relationship, and sometimes we decided that, hey, we're actually not good matches as a long-term life partner. So he said, oh, well, that's a shame, but never mind. Do you want to be friends? And usually we both say yes, because if there's a loving connection, why would we want to give that up? Yeah. And I'm the same with my ex-relationships, with my past relationships. I would much rather stay in connection and keep the love, even if we can't perhaps be married or lovers or partners anymore. We can still be loving friends and support each other and encourage each other. And for me, that's wonderful. I never want to give up love. Why would I want another excuse not to love? No. Okay, let's have a look. What do we have down here? This window is very small. Reptiles and their young. Maybe that's just my strange focus, but in general, reptiles came before mammals, and mammals are more loving, and humans, in theory, can be very loving, although sometimes we don't do so well. What else do we have here? Let's have a look. Oh, this window. I'm not very good with this window. Never mind. Thank you, Sharon, for your lovely comments. That's great. Every day, every moment, perhaps. From the heart, absolutely. Kindness. Oh, loving kindness is beautiful. The Dalai Lama speaks of loving kindness, but he doesn't just speak about it, he lives it. But any religious leader can say, love, love, thou shalt love, blah, 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 blah. Okay, give us the money for the collection. He walks his talk. He still sends love to the Chinese, even though they have invaded his country, they have occupied his country since the middle of the century, and they're doing their best to kill Tibetans and to stamp out his culture forever. And he still loves them. To me, that's a wonderful thing. It means he really walks his talk. Somebody once asked him, why do you love them? Why do you love them when they are doing such things to you and your people? And he said, well, the mind can understand the hatred, the mind could understand hating, but the heart never can. And so I would be conflicted, and the wars would be inside me, and then I lose the love, and then what use am I? Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful man. Rachel, welcome. Love that. That's good. Any excuse to love. Any excuse to love is good. And please remember, when I say love, it doesn't mean you have to be a doormat. You can still love and say no to people, to situations. You can stand strong and say, no thanks, that's not for me. Some people will try and take advantage of you, and you can still love them and say, no thanks. You can even defend yourself if you need to, in various ways. You can say no, and ultimately, the ultimate freedom that we have is to remove ourselves from the company of somebody who's not treating us in a respectful manner. So we can still love them, don't have to throw them out of our hearts and, oh, that person's bad, oh. We don't have to. We can still love them and say, no thanks, how you are isn't really working for me. Bye-bye. I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best. Yeah. Reptiles. People having fun with reptiles. Why not? I think they're rather lovely. But I think most creatures are rather lovely. Okay. Shannon, is that from experiencing isolation with children for how many weeks? Oh, okay, that's something to Natasha. Okay, let's keep scrolling down. Let's have a look. Pay It Forward Day. Oh, that's beautiful, yes. There's a lovely film about that many years ago. I think it was called Pay It Forward. I found the ending a bit challenging, but it's a beautiful idea. It's a beautiful idea. And I know that if somebody does something for me that's unexpected, it really stops me and I feel very grateful. And I'm far more likely to pay it forward again. And it's beautiful. It's just a lovely concept. It really is. There are many people online, often in Facebook these days, saying, hey guys, if you're stuck indoors and you can't get any food or you can't get your medicine, just let me know. I don't have much, but I'll see what I can do to help. There are so many people saying this. It's beautiful. It really is. There are a lot of good things coming from this quarantine. Obviously, it's tragic that a lot of people are dying, but there's good coming from it as well. We're finally being reminded what's important in life. Is it having the latest smartphone or the latest model car, or maybe it's actually our family, our loved ones, treating each other well, our health, the people who look after our health, the medical people who are out in the front lines for us, the people who are at the stores doing so-called menial trivial jobs. Not very many of them now, are they? Why are we paying so much money to people who can throw a ball through a hoop or kick it between some posts when teachers get paid nothing and nurses don't get paid much? Madness. Madness. Okay, let's see what else we have. That's some good conversation here. Boundaries, absolutely crucial, yes. And that's all about, again, not being a doormat. You can love somebody and love has no obligations. Yes, I love you, and no, you can't borrow my car at the moment. Last time you borrowed it, you pranked it. So, I still love you, but I'm sorry you can't borrow my car. Boundaries. Boundaries are important. If we don't have boundaries, then some people might take advantage of us. Yeah. Any tips on self-love? Adam, yeah, that's a great question. Here's one. You are doing the best you can. You are always doing the best that you can. Everyone's always doing the best that they can. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to let murderers wander around and murder people all the time. If somebody's causing any trouble in the world, then we might want to put them away so they don't hurt other people. But even they are doing the best they can. You might not like what they're doing, so yeah, we can put them away. But you're doing the best that you can. And if you can actually take that on board, then you will be able to let go of some of your self-judgment. Right? Some people might say, oh, I'm not doing very well, am I? Well, you can judge yourself if you want. How does that make you feel? So, yeah, for me, remembering that we're all doing the best we can, that allows me to let go of my judgment of myself and of other people. And that means I'm happier. And that means I'm more loving, more peaceful. And that means everybody in my life has a better experience when they interact with me. And yeah, to me, that's a way towards peace. If we all work on our stuff and let go of judgments, let go of self-judgments, all those kind of things, then gradually we're going to become happier, friendlier, more helpful. Because when I'm happy, I'm usually happy to help. I want to help. But if I'm miserable and I'm stuck in my own stuff, no, go away. I haven't got time for you. I haven't got space for you. So working on ourselves is actually a great gift to the world. It sounds strange, like people say, how selfish wanting to be happy. And I say, yes, it is selfish. It's extremely selfish. But if we're not selfish enough to look after ourselves and retain our happiness, then we have nothing to offer to anybody else. We have nothing to give. Okay, so on to, let's see, the next point. The next point, happiness isn't trivial. It improves all areas of life. So if we're happy, our health improves. If we're happy, our body can relax. And when it can relax, it can work on healing and on a stronger immune system. And another way of looking at that is the opposite. If you're stressed, we all know that stress is a killer. There are so many studies saying that stress is a killer. Fight or flight. The body says, oh, geez, my very being is at risk. So I can't focus on healing at the moment. I've got to get my muscles full of energy, full of blood, just in case I need to fight or I need to run away. And the body never has the chance to heal and relax, and it's not very good. Stress kills. So if we can learn how to become happier, then the stress will drift away, and our immune system, our entire being can relax, and our immune system can strengthen. And, well, the immune system is our primary defense against any kind of disease or ill health. Viruses, like some viruses, there are vaccines. Great. Vaccines are often very helpful. But if there isn't a vaccine, what are you left with? Your immune system. So if you work on becoming happier, then your health improves, your immune system improves. Great. We have a choice in life. Do we resist life, or do we relax and accept? Now, if there's something we don't like, we don't have to just say, okay, that's the way it is and I can't change it. But if we resist, it's stressful. So we can actually relax and accept and say, yes, this is how it is at the moment. Might not like it just now, might want to change it. I'm going to change it, we'll change it. But that's different from And again, that affects our stress, that affects our immune system, our health. And another thing, again, if we want to look at the whole idea of selfishness, you're so selfish, focusing on being happy. But if we're happier again, everybody we touch in our lives, they get a better experience of us. Not only that, they have an experience of you don't have to be miserable. Well, I'm miserable. That person's happy. Why are they happy? Maybe there's something I can learn here. Hey, why are you happy? Can you explain? Why are you happy? And often people will be delighted to share a few ideas. We can all become happier. Here's an interesting issue. Suffering and death and dying. Many people are really scared of that, especially in the West, because we believe, in general, that when we die, that's it, game over. Unless we're Christians, of course, and then we might actually believe that we go to hell, which is even worse. Forever, ever, and amen. No thanks. So these things that give us a lot of fear around death. But what if we explored death? What if we looked into it and explored attitudes to death all over the world, right throughout history? Maybe there's another possibility. Maybe there's another reality. Now, nobody can tell for sure, but if we can come to a sense of peace around death and dying, then suddenly, if anybody in our life is dealing with that issue, they realise that here's a safe person that they can talk with. Here's a safe person they can unload to. They can talk about their fears, their concerns, and they will not be judged. They will not be dismissed. Like, if I'm afraid of death and you want to tell me about your family member who's sick and ill, I don't want to hear about it. I'm scared of death. Go away, go away. So if we can learn to be happy around, for instance, death and dying, suddenly we're a peaceful oasis that many people don't have in their lives. And everyone deals with death sooner or later. Initially deaths of other people, sometimes close, and eventually our own. And so if we can come to terms with that, we can let go of suffering and fear, become happier for ourselves, and also we can be there for others. And that's an important thing. That's such an important thing. I did some training in hospice many years ago in America, and yeah, it was great. It really was. Sometimes it was scary. Sometimes it brought up my own stuff. But it was part of my own journey to come to terms with death and dying. Now, I don't want to go anytime soon. I'm pretty happy most of the time. So I'm happy to be alive and enjoy this world as long as I can. But it's not from, oh no, stay away from me, death, be gone, oh no. It's more from a love of life. And I find that if I'm moving towards what I love, I usually feel good and happy. If I'm running away from what I don't like, I usually feel scared and afraid, and that's not a lot of fun. Yeah, so again, by our focus, whether we go towards what we want, what we love, or away from what we're afraid of, makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. Okay, let's see. Any more questions here? Random acts of kindness. Lots of love hearts here. That's lovely. Yeah, affirmations. Yes, affirmations. They're good. That's good. Self-care days. Yes, Shannon. Beautiful. What if every day is a self-care day? And if it isn't, why not? What's stopping us? Yeah. Affirmations. Affirmations are interesting because sometimes people will say an affirmation like, I am a lovely person. And then they go, no, I'm not there. You say, I am happy. No, I'm bloody not there. But that's actually quite useful because it will show you where your resistance is. I am worthy of happiness. No, I'm bloody not. That's interesting. I don't believe I'm worthy of happiness. Where the hell did that come from? And it shows us what our real beliefs are. And then we can have a look at those beliefs and we can think, that belief is going to bring me evidence to back it up. Do I enjoy that belief? Does it make me happy? No. What's the opposite belief? I am worthy. I am a loving person. Well, I don't know about that, but if that belief will attract evidence to prove it, maybe I can try that belief for a while and see how I go. So I don't know if this belief is true, but I'm going to try it on for a while. I am a loving person. How does that feel? It feels quite nice. There's a bit of doubt, bits of doubt from my previous habits of unhappiness, but I'm a loving person. That feels good. And as that becomes part of our consciousness and seeps into us, we're probably going to react in a more loving way to other people. And then we're going to notice, hey, I actually was loving to that person. How good's that? Maybe I am a loving person. So that's a way that affirmations can be really helpful, bringing up the limiting beliefs that we have, and then we can look at them. Whoa, I didn't think I thought that about myself. Let me look at this. Is that useful? If not, what do I really want to believe around this? Let's try it on. Yeah. Okay, what do we have here? Ties in with topics that other presenters have spoken about. Yes, Shannon, absolutely. Like nothing I say is new here. None of this is new. None of the stuff about love and happiness. People have been preaching love and happiness forever. And yet, for whatever reason, we've been too busy to pay any attention. Whoa, maybe this quarantine is actually helpful. Maybe we finally got time to think, oh shit, don't have to do all these jobs and rush around and dash around and be stuck in traffic doing jobs I don't like. Whoa, how do I spend my time? Okay, maybe I'll go on Facebook, have a good look. Oh, somebody shared something interesting about love. Whoa, hey, that's right. So we can redirect if we wish. As part of this process, we can redirect anytime. Yeah. Oh, Shannon, you've got a lot of good stuff here. I hope you're presenting too. That's great. Natasha, when I'm unhappy, I get a crooked tongue. Yeah, good piece of evidence. So much of ill health, well, think of the word, disease, dis-ease. I believe that most ill health is psychosomatic. It comes from dis-ease. It comes from getting distracted from our natural well-being, our natural joy and our natural happiness. If we're happy, all elements of our body can work at an optimal rate, and they know what to do. They really do. It's just as well, isn't it? I mean, how would we cope if we had to tell our body to do all the different pieces? Okay, remember to breathe in, out, out. Oh no, I forgot to breathe in. Oh, I'm so bad at this. We couldn't cope if we had to do all that stuff. Our bodies know how to be healthy. So if we can give up the stress, give up the suffering, give up the unhappiness, our bodies can let go of all that and just do what they know how to do so well. Yeah. Okay, what do we have here? Okay to slow down and be present. Yes, Shannon, absolutely. Being ourselves is actually okay. What a wild idea. Push through the discomfort. I'm not sure I push through discomfort myself. I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, if that works for you, great. I'd rather look at discomfort and try, do my best not to judge it and kind of feel into it and what's that about? Could I let go of that? Could I let go and release that? Just notice. Sometimes I can, sometimes it takes a while. So for me, I try to take a break when I notice discomfort. And often if I just pay attention, often it drops away. Yeah. Try that, see how you go. See how you go. Yeah. Redirect, let go of what's not working. Absolutely, absolutely. Good stuff, Natasha, that's great. Yeah. Okay, let's go on to the fourth point. Happiness is more about unlearning than learning. Much of my life when I was young, especially at school and university, it was about learning. Okay, get more information. More information is going to be helpful in my life. I can be successful. I can earn money. I can get a partner. Blah 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 blah. And that's all well and good in some areas. If I want to work with a particular field or topic, it helps if I know something about it. That's great. But when it comes to being happy and joyful, that's actually a bit of a handicap because it comes from a perspective of I'm not enough right now. There's something else I need to learn in order to be happy or joyful or a good person or something like that. There's not. What I'm finding in my process the last few years has been more about letting go of the unconscious beliefs that keep me unhappy, that keep me stressed, that keep me striving, that keep me unconsciously believing this moment is not enough. I've got to do something different. That moment's going to be better. They're lucky. They've got what I don't have. He's got what I don't have. They're lucky. How can I be supposed to be happy with this? And these attitudes don't help. So for me, it's about unlearning rather than learning. There's a lovely expression. It ain't what you know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know that just ain't so. Right? So many people think it's not what you don't know, and so I have to learn something. Whereas it's often what I think I know that isn't true, especially around morality, for instance. You're bad if you do this. In the old days, well, many years ago, there are times where if you were a man and woman, you could not live together unless you were married. And that was morality. So if you did that, you would either be filled with fear and guilt and shame, and other people would judge you, and often you get ostracized and you'd get kicked out of the community because you were living together while you weren't married. But now that's different because the morality has changed. So the limiting belief has relaxed around that. So in many ways, we are gradually letting go of limiting beliefs in society. But of course, there's still a lot of them around. There's still a huge amount of them around. You should do this, you must do that. Governments often tell us this. You should do this, you shouldn't do that. You can't eat a substance or smoke a substance if it makes you feel good because that's immoral and illegal. This particular drug, that's illegal. Why is it illegal? It's just illegal, it's bad for you. But if I want to smoke it or eat it or whatever, and I'm not hurting anybody else, why shouldn't I? Because it's bad for you. But how come some drugs are illegal and some are legal? For instance, marijuana and CBD oil is currently illegal. And strangely enough, it's really good as a medicine. Now, I don't smoke it myself. I don't think smoking anything is a good idea, but it's a really great medicine, and yet it's illegal. But cigarettes are fine. Yeah, it's okay to smoke cigarettes, which are absolutely shocking and really, really hard to give up and kill huge numbers of people. And it's okay to drink alcohol, and that kills huge numbers of people. So it's all about all these limiting beliefs that run society. And do we buy into them? Do we want to buy into them? Maybe we want to change some of them if they don't work. Should prisons be full of people who want to smoke a joint? Doesn't seem to make any sense to me, especially if you've got violent criminals outside. Let's look at our limiting beliefs, not only as individuals, but as a society and as a culture. It's not very helpful. Personally, I think live and let live. If you want to do something at home and it doesn't affect me, go for it. What business is it of mine? Whatever you want to eat, smoke, who you want to be with, man, woman, 2 men, 2 women, 3 men and 4 women. Who cares? What's it got to do with me? If we can let go of these limiting beliefs and these judgments, we'll be so much happier. Yeah, if we can find a way of not judging at all, we'll be very happy. Now, when I say don't judge, we can still evaluate, we can still be discriminating. We could still say, I've got this goal, I want to feel good. That person is a bit nasty and this person is quite nice. I prefer to hang out with this person rather than this one. That's not judging, that's just discriminating and choosing. You're not saying they're bad, you're just saying, this person, I don't feel good around them, so I might just go and hang out with this person instead. So discrimination is great. In fact, it's crucial, especially in this era of fake news. How do we know what the hell is real? Look into the motivations of the people who give us the news. Who's behind this? Who's writing this report? Is it maybe a very rich conservative person who's trying to control us? And I'm not saying all rich people or conservative people are bad. I'm just saying that's an example. Or is it is this thing saying that this particular chemical is safe? Is that report produced by people who made that chemical? So discrimination is very, very important. What's true? What seems to make sense? Why are people telling us these things? What's their angle? And that's about discrimination. We don't have to judge them as bad if they're trying to sell their stuff, but awareness and discrimination is great. And we don't need to judge any of them. Yeah. Okay, we're running out of time, so I think I'll share one more point. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is really powerful. When I grew up, I was told forgive, and I didn't like it because I was told to do it, and if I was told to do something, I didn't want to. But since then, I've learned I don't forgive for their benefit, I forgive for my benefit. Because if I'm judging somebody and really upset, then what use is that to me? It fills me with tension and angst. I'm judgmental, and if they're in my presence, they're going to feel judged, and they're not going to change if I want them to change. What if I judge some politician? They don't even know I'm judging them, so I'm feeling bad for no good reason. So what if I forgave? What if I just chose to forgive? Now, I might not agree with everything they say or do. I'm never going to agree with everything anybody, one particular person says or does, because we're all different. We're all individuals. Oh, I'm not. Sorry, I'm a big fan of Life of Brian, Monty Python. But forgiveness is powerful. Forgiveness is so powerful. It's probably why a lot of the masters through the years taught that. The Buddha, Jesus, many masters, Eckhart Tolle, Dalai Lama, forgiveness. And again, it doesn't mean you're a doormat. I forgive, therefore you can do whatever the hell you want. No, you can set up boundaries and you can say, yes, I forgive you, but I don't want to be around you anymore. Sorry. Forgiveness is so powerful. Yeah. Try it, see how you go. If you have any resistance to forgiving, ask yourself, why? Why would you want to hang on to something that feels bad? What purpose does it serve? Is it because I want to be right? I'm right, they're wrong. Well, maybe, but how good does that feel? Do you feel good when you're... Or maybe you could forgive and just be discriminating. Yeah, I forgive you for what you did. I don't like it. You keep doing it. Don't think I'm going to hang out with you anymore. Best of luck. Good luck. Bye-bye. It's another way of doing it. Don't have to be a doormat. Yeah. Forgiveness is so powerful. And it doesn't have anything to do with any particular religion. You can be a complete atheist and realise the value of forgiveness and practice it. I try to forgive everybody and everything. I don't always succeed. But it's my intention, because any time I can forgive, I'm letting go of a bit of unhappiness. And as I do that, I feel better, my energy improves, my health improves, I achieve better things in life. Through the law of attraction, my life gets better, whether you believe in the law of attraction or not. Yeah, forgiveness is powerful. Yeah. You fancy trying forgiving? What if once a day you looked at everything that you judged about yourself, about others, about world events, about situations, about things that happened, about things that didn't happen, and forgave them all, one by one? There'll be a lot of resistance that comes up, but have a look. How would you feel if you forgave more often? Yeah. Okay, nearly out of time. Let's have a look and see if there are any more questions. Lots of great comments. Sharon, I had to learn to sit in uncomfortable being by myself and know that it was okay. Absolutely. Yeah, there's no way past our stuff but through it. Somebody once said, you can hide from your stuff, but you'll never succeed because it's going to chase you right throughout hell and all the way back out again, and you'll never run away from it. All you can do is turn and face it. Yeah. Sometimes I will struggle with it. Yes, Sharon, me too, a lot. You don't want to hear me when I'm struggling. Nobody wants to hear me. But usually I'm able to let it go after a while, and I come out the other end just a little bit happier each time. Yeah. Forgiveness is key. Absolutely, Ben. Thanks for joining us. Forgiveness. It is. And again, yeah, none of this is new. I'm not telling anybody anything you don't already know. We all know this at one level. But sometimes we forget. Sometimes we get distracted. Oh, there's a lovely line in one of my favourite films. Don Juan de Marco has an amazing cast. Johnny Depp, Marlon Brando, Faye Dunaway. At one stage in the film, Johnny says to Marlon Brando, well, No, it's the other way around. Anyway, he says, and who am I? And Johnny Depp, who's playing Don Juan, says to Brando, you are also a great lover, although you have temporarily lost your way. And that's all that happens to any of us. We have temporarily lost our way. We've fallen off the path of love, of happiness, of joy. And we can help remind each other. We can remind each other, hey, you're not feeling so good. What's about? Can I help? Need to share anything? How can I help? We're helping each other remember the love that is inside us. That's our very nature. Once we get rid of all the cruft that we picked up over the years from people, sometimes with good intentions, sometimes not so good intentions. Yeah. There's a lovely line from Ram Dass. He said, we're all just loving each other home. Or something like that. Yeah. Okay, I think we're at 8 o'clock, so I'll just have a quick look at the comments again. Rachel, forgiveness has given me peace in my heart and helped me move forward with my life. Absolutely. Forgiveness is so powerful. Oh, yeah. Excellent. Well, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully I've reminded you of a few things that you might have forgotten or been distracted away from, perhaps. It's been a good reminder for me what's important, what's useful. Been some great comments there. Thank you so much for those. Yeah, so if you would, please like this video if you did in fact like it. I think it's going to be recorded. I think it has been recorded, so please do share it with others if you find it helpful. And if you wish, make a presentation yourself. Offer something yourself. We all know many things. We all have great wisdom. Share something that you're passionate about. Yeah. And if you don't want to do that, maybe that's a bit of a challenge. That's okay. You don't have to do that. There are many other interesting things going on. Many other great presenters talking about all sorts of interesting things, all sorts of things, sometimes practical, sometimes more generic, perhaps, like happiness or love. But so much knowledge and wisdom out there, and it's great that so many people are willing to share for free and to be part of this thing, and many other similar things. I'm so grateful for all the people who are involved, both as presenters and people who come and watch these things, as you are today, and the fact that we are able to do this, and that Happiness Aid was organised by some wonderful, passionate people who thought, hey, this sounds like a good idea, can we make it happen? And they started with an intention, with a vision, and made it happen. Yeah. So thank you again. Time to finish up. If you have any further questions to ask, happy to ask them if I know the answers. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. But it's always fun exploring this topic. We all want to be happy. We all want to love and be loved. Though I might want to focus more on loving these days. And we can all achieve it if we just decide, set the intention, make regular, gentle progress every day. All right, folks. I keep on saying goodbye. It's so hard to say goodbye. Happiness, no, not happiness. Parting is such sweet sorrow. I think somebody rather famous said that a few years ago. All right. Thanks, folks. Thanks again. And maybe I'll see you in the comments or at another Happiness Array event. Bye-bye, and may you all be happy.